What is behind door number 1? So I got a call from a buddy of mine, Kevin Bergeron. He's a YouTube buddy. And he's very, very interested in something that's in this shed. And I figured I'd bring you guys in for the deal. Might as well show you what we're up to. By the way, if anybody likes the smell of mouse pee and dead mouse, maybe rat, this shed is for you. So I'm going in. By the way, if a mouse jumps on me, you guys are going to get to see me jump around and shriek like a little girl. And that's what he's interested in right there. A Honda Z50 with a periwinkle tank. So here is what we have that Kevin is interested in. It's a mid-70s Honda, what do they call these? Z50s, I guess. This one here, somebody put quite a bit of time into. I think actually looks pretty good. Right, I see shiny. Seat doesn't look bad. Obviously it needs a handlebar, kickstarter, return spring for the brakes, needs a shock, taillight, headlight. It's got the side cover. These are rare. It's missing that cover. Shifter looks good. Not a lot of compression. It does have a spark plug in it. The valve's probably hung up. So, and it comes along with this guy. By the way, that really had to hurt. That had to hurt a lot. This guy is a 76. This tank isn't horrible. Obviously, there are both handlebars. There's the throttle. Keeps poking me in the face. I'm looking to see, does it have the thing on the end of the cable? Yes, good. Because the other carburetor's missing the top of the carburetor. See the valve there. The seat looks like mice broke into it, emptied it out. It does have the tail light. It has the front fender. Obviously both handlebars. So the switches. Boy, that had to hurt. That right there had to hurt. So, what's the story on these things? I believe I picked up the pair of these about 30 years ago by a young man by the name of Jim Ryan in Middletown, New York. He was moving and he had to clean up. He had to get rid of a bunch of junk. So he sold these two to me and a load of parts for an ATC 70. Basically a clear out, right? Bunch of dead stuff, and gave me a good deal on it all back then. If I unhook that, it's gonna fall over. And I kind of had them and I moved them from place to place. Was it 30 years ago? I don't know, 25. Doesn't really matter. Third of a century, quarter century, right? Yeah, these guys here, like that guy's a 76. I'm not sure what year this is. These guys were kind of after my time. In my time, if you had one of these, one of the Honda CT70s, you were like, you know, King Kong. You were the big man. The seat was long enough, so in your pre-driving days, you could always find a young lady who would hop on the back and you guys could ride off into the sunset. So in my day, these were really popular. Back in my day, every once in a while, you would see one of these. This is known as the CT50 or the Monkey, right? There were a few of these around. Mostly it was the CT70s. So you guys know I don't part with much stuff, especially anything that says Honda. So for many of you, you're probably scratching your head saying, why are you getting rid of those two Z50s? Well, this kind of starts quite a while ago. Kevin contacted me and told me that he had I believe it was a Kawasaki 400. I don't know, Big Bear, Grizzly 400, whatever they're called, 4x4, that a client of his had. It needed some work, and they figured out what was wrong with it, and then, or the client took it apart and wanted him to put it together again. However it worked. Anyway, then the client passed on, and the client's wife said, yo, keep that, or get that out of here, or whatever it was. So he ended up with it. He decided he didn't want to do anything with it, and he gave it to me, just gave it to me for free. So after that deal, he and I were talking, and I don't know if you guys remember, I had a Kawasaki KD80, little two-stroker, floating around. And there was also, sitting right about there, there was a Suzuki, I don't know what they call them, GT80s. Anyway, so it was kind of like, if you'll put together my KD80, I'll set you up with the Suzuki. There was also a Honda MB50 in the deal. You know what I mean? So we were kind of like horse trading things back and forth and back and forth. And more recently, he called me up and said, you know, Harvey, I really want to do a Honda, a little Honda 50 or 70 or something. And I remember you had those in the shed. And he described them to me. And I'm like, he particularly described this purple one to me, or he mentioned the purple one. I'm like, purple, right? So anyway, I came up here to the shed, and sure enough, the purple one was up here. And he remembered that, you know, it was missing a handlebar, a tail light, it needed a shock. So he remembered all this stuff. And I'm like, you know, if somebody remembers more about your stuff than you do, maybe you should do some deals and with them and get it back to them. From a parts point of view, this thing is worth a bloody fortune, right? The front forks are worth money. The seat's in nice shape. This cover here is probably worth over $100 alone. The gas tank's in decent shape, right? Wheels, this thing's worth a fortune. But I don't want to see it get parted out. I want to see it live for another few generations. And I'm sure Kevin's going to set me up like that, right? He's going to redo it, and it's going to be around for quite a while longer. You know, that kind of makes me happy. Though it is hard to say goodbye to a Honda, I have to admit. These two, they never really joined my Honda two-wheeler horde. Neither did that 70 over there, and neither did the CT80 Suzuki. They've always kind of been out here in the shed, which is okay. That doesn't mean they're rejected or no good or anything, but they're not strong in my memory, so I guess it's easier to say goodbye to them. I do remember when I look at this, and the one, I do have another Z50, it's down in the basement. There was a family vacation where I brought a Z50, and a red Honda CT70. And my son, older son, was a teenager. So I kind of brought the 50 along for him and the 70 along for me. And the people were really cool at this particular resort in Pennsylvania. It's since closed and burned down, but they let us ride all over the place. They, you know, they never said, yo, get those out of here or anything, right? They would have chased us out of Marshall's Creek there. They were cool. They just let us ride all over. So, you know, I mean, we rode around back in the woods. Place was known as Chestnut Grove, and it kind of closed down when they did that interchange in Marshall's Creek. So yeah, we were riding around all through there and all back up in the woods and so forth. It was just a lot of fun. At one point, we were having dinner, and my son finished and left. And then he came back and he said, "Can I have the key to the CT70?" And I said, What are you going to do? He says, "I just want to take a little ride." So we're sitting there at dinner looking out the window, and he rides by on the red CT70 with Ingrid on the back. So, I mean, you know, back then my son probably weighed, 110 pounds, and she probably weighed 90 pounds. So the two of them put together way less than I do, and I'm not proud to say that. So just memories of these things. They were just a blast. They're just a wonderful vehicle. The CT70s. The 50, the little Z50 though, it wasn't big enough for he and Ingrid. The red one also had foot pegs in the back, and at some point somebody in Pennsylvania registered it because it had an inspection sticker on the pipe there on the front shock. Anyway, Kevin, so as I'm talking, I think you could see everything you need to see, everything you need to know, right? I think you can have everything you need. I was gonna hijack the seat, but quite honestly, it's a little bit nasty. And I'm not sure. It'll probably go on the CT70, but it doesn't look right. It's not going to look right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff, these handlebars aren't bent, which, by the way, is simply amazing. If you did that to the front forks, I don't know how you got over those handlebars without bending them up. Yeah, it's got the switches here. Run, off. I mean, heck, the switches. If that switch works, it's probably worth money. Right, it's got the things for the handlebars. Yeah, between the two of them, he should be able to put together a very, very nice machine. Kevin has a son that is probably going to enjoy the heck out of this, right? Ride a Kawasaki if you could ride a Honda. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. I needed to make it, and hopefully Kevin and I could get together soon. Unfortunately, both of our states are restricting movement. Me to get up to New England, and him coming down to New York. I'm hoping that we can meet perhaps somewhere at a park and ride right on one of the major highways, do an exchange of what I'm going to get from him, and he's going to get these two. Then we could go home and so forth. Yeah, the with the Easy Pass and cell phone tracking and all this other kind of stuff, you know, it's getting harder and harder to kind of skate around these things, you know. Not that, I don't know, what are they going to do if I drive to a park and ride in somewhere in New England and turn around and come back? I mean, they're going to tell me I have to quarantine? And like, yo, I drove to a park and ride and back, right? But I guess, according to the rules, I'm supposed to. Yeah, this is nice too. Got an air cleaner there. Yeah, there's a lot of details that could come off of that bike and go on this one. I look forward to seeing what Kevin does with it. Many of you would say, boy, you should just keep them and make the videos and then part with them. I'd look like a bear riding a unicycle if I got on that thing. So, you know what? Kevin's going to do something with this, and I'm going to feel good that that's going to happen. And you guys are going to be able to go check out his website and see what he's up to. Look him up, Kevin Bergeron. No, I can't spell Bergeron. So go check him out. He's really good with the two-cycle stuff, once again. That's really his forte. Like me, I like the ATC, Honda ATC stuff. He really likes the two-cycle stuff, so go check him out. Anyway, I really, really want to thank you all for dropping by to watch and comment and subscribe. Please remember, feet down, heads up, and get out there and enjoy each and every day. Bye now.